Hey, Hardcore Hog fans. Rick DeWeese coming to you live from Little Rock, Arkansas. This is the summertime kickoff Razorback Football. I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, George Waddell from Beverly Hills. What's up, buddy?
2026, ready to go. We're kicking it off and doing it the best way I know. Let's go.
I love it. Man, we have a special guest today.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
this guy is Arkansas legend material. And you and I talked about it. I mean, I've got the details and I'm not going to announce who it is yet. And I know you've got him trapped in the locker room right now. But this guy kicked the winning field goal against Texas in 1979.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and bring him on because
I mean,
that's your legend right there. And
bring him in for sure because hey, let
that's
me
your
let me
legend.
ask you before I even introduce him. I want to ask you, George.
Yeah.
How many times do you think we beat Texas in the last 50 years?
I don't even want to think about it, but I would say 9 times.
Okay. You're actually right.
Yeah.
And in the last 50 years, this guy is one of the winners.
Yes.
He kicked a field goal in the fourth quarter that ended up being the winning field goal. But look, I want to get serious. I mean, I see him there with that Cheshire Cat smile on his face because he knows he's a badass. They were Southwest Conference champs in 1979. This dude is the two-time Southwest Conference scoring champ in 78 and 79. Led the NCAA in field goals in 1979 with 18, which is that Lou Holtz team that had the 10-2 record, finished, number 8 in the country, played in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama. Listen, this guy kicked 16 field goals in a row. That is the leader, broke the NCAA record back in the day. Are you following me?
Yeah.
And the 15th one in a row was the one that beat Texas. So let me tell you unabashedly, I am going to announce our special guest is Ish Ordanez, who is one bad son of a gun Razorback legend that everybody needs to know about.
There you go.
Thank you for being on our show, and I appreciate you, brother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, George, for inviting me. This is an honor. I appreciate you still remembering me, and it's been a long time. As I told you before, George, I can't believe it's been 46 years from my senior year. So, I was just grateful for the opportunity. I knew nothing about the Razorbacks. I knew nothing about the state of Arkansas. And I was a last minute decision for Coach Holtz because Steve had graduated, Steve Little, and they were actually looking to Robert Farrell to do the extra points and field goals that year in 78. So again, I got recruited in May of 78, very last minute. They were actually finishing up finals when I did my trip. So I'm just glad. I'm glad that I got the opportunity. I'm glad to represent the state of Arkansas. More than anything, but that's why I'm wearing this today. These are the shirts they gave us. It's been about 15 or 20 years ago. It represents the hog, and the football has the number of the player and the years that we played. So, and I rarely wear this shirt, so I thought I'd wear it today for you guys.
You had said too that you had only played 1 year of football in high school prior to getting recruited by the University of Arkansas. Did Holtz, after he got off the Tonight Show, come down and watch one of your games? Is that how you got recruited?
Yeah, the year that he was on the Johnny Carson show was at the end of it was after the 78 season, I believe, in the spring. But no, I played soccer in high school, 10th grade, 11th grade, and then I just didn't see an opportunity to get a soccer scholarship So I decided to learn how to kick a football, and it took a lot of practice. I had the leg strength. I just didn't have I was still trying to kick it like a soccer ball, and it was going places, but it wasn't going straight. So I had to teach myself with the help of my father. But I only played my senior year of high school, and did well enough. But UCLA already had a kicker, USC had a kicker, San Diego State had a kicker, Long Beach State had a kicker, and so no one was really in need of a kicker. So I went to a junior college, West LA JC, which is the same one that Warren Moon went to as a freshman, and then transferred to Washington to play his college career there. But I did tell my coach in junior college, I said, Coach, I'm only going to play 1 year. I plan to go to a 4-year school. I don't know where, but I'm going to go. And so he supported me, and it was just networking. My kicking coach that I had here in Southern California was Ben Agajanian. And Ben played in the 40s, 50s, and early 60s in the NFL, straight on kicker. But he had a camp in Long Beach for kids in this area, and he would give it free. No, there was no charge. It was only every Wednesday from 3:30 to 5. And so my dad and I would go. We would kick with him, and it was through Ben Agajanian, who would play gin rummy on Mondays in Beverly Hills. And a friend of his was, his name was Ken Croswell from Hamburg, Arkansas, but he was a developer here in LA. And so he looked over to him at the table and said, hey, Ken, now that you guys have any kickers at Arkansas? Are you in need of any kickers? And Mr. Croswell said, but yes, because we just lost an All-American. Do you have any kids there at your camp? And he said, I've got about 3 of them. So Mr. Croswell called Wilson Matthews, who's a friend of his, and Wilson Matthews let Coach Holtz know about 3 potential kickers here in Southern California. So he sent Coach Bob Cope out here to see me kick. And so Coach Cope asked Coach Agajanian, who do you recommend? He goes, I'm not going to recommend. You make that decision. I've got the 3 kids here. And so he said, watch him kick, and then you decide. And so he picked me, and he said, did I pick the right one? He said, you did. So I was the one that got to go to the recruiting trip. That I think.
Hey, the awesome thing about that time too is that there was a lot of straight on kickers at that time, and you were one of the few that had the soccer style kick. And so I get what you're saying about you had to figure out how the ball is going to fly,
right?
Because you're not kicking it with your toe like most kickers were doing at that time.
No, but we found out. I mean, and then you can obviously see why. It's our style gives you the ability to use more of your foot, which you've got better control, better accuracy, and distance too. As a matter of fact, the distance. Cam Little broke the NFL record last year. So, but it's and I'm coaching high school football right now. They asked me to come out and help. But it's these kids are all soccer players, but I'm having to teach them the basics of 3 steps back, 2 to the left or 2 to the right, depending on whether you're right-footed or left. And then, the follow through, it's like golfing. I tell everybody it's leg speed, just like club speed is where you get your distance from. I never lifted weights, but it's just controlling the kick. That's all.
And also you have control of the wind as well.
Right.
So straight on kickers don't have near as much control of the wind as a soccer style kicker does. Kind of like a golfer.
Right.
You can put the ball into the wind and make it do what you want to do. So that's awesome.
Do you George, they prior to 1978, when I went to Arkansas, the NCAA rule was that kickers can use their own practice footballs in a game. And that these were, when you beat up a football that much, it's easy to kick it. And so that's why Erxleben, Franklin, and Little were kicking 60-plus yard field goals in their time. 78, I had to use the game ball to kick. It's the same quarterback ball that was used. And I know that I got the chance to play against Russell Erxleben and Tony Franklin, and I don't believe they kicked any 60-yarders in 78. It's just hard.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, but the fact that you did what you did, and listen, I was gonna say that one of your accolades was beating Texas, because we've only beat them 9 times in the last 50 years out of 24 games. But really, I mean, your accolades are fantastic with, 18 of 22. I think, and I could be wrong, you correct me, Ish. I think you missed the ones you missed, your field goals you missed were early on, and you made a promise that you told your teammates, I am not going to miss again. And you hit 16 in a row to stretch out the season. Is that correct?
That I think I said in 78, because what happened was I didn't miss my last 6 in 78. And then I came into the 79 season making my first 10.
There
So
you go.
yeah, that's what happened. And I remember that Houston game. And what's unfortunate is when I did try out in the NFL in 81 with back then it was the Baltimore Colts. Guess who I ran into?
Well, and I
He
think
was also,
Houston won that game, if
yeah,
I'm not mistaken. I think Houston
yeah, they
was
did.
one of those 10-2 losses, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. And I ran
Yeah.
into Isaiah Taylor, the one that blocked my kick in that game at the Baltimore training camp. So,
Oh my gosh.
but yeah, and again, I was pretty shaken up after that Houston game, and I go into the Rice game missing my first 2.
Oh wow.
And that's one thing that I appreciated about Coach Holtz is he was able to get me out of that slump. And I've told this before on with other friends. He took me in the locker room at halftime against Rice and took me into this closet with no light. And he started telling me everything he could think of to get me back in line again. And it did shock me. And he said, when you're ready to come out of this closet, you can come out. And he slammed the door, and all the players, all my teammates heard it all. They could hear it. And so, but fortunately, after I did come out the second half, I did kick a 50-yarder, and I did not miss the next kick after that. But that was the 18 out of 22 season. So he did,
Yeah.
he did fix me.
He fixed it. I guess Coach Holtz had a way of doing that, didn't he? He was not
Oh,
a
yeah.
big guy, but he
No,
was intimidating. And you were talking too about how you didn't want to miss any because you didn't want to go back to the sideline and face a
yeah.
towering
Coach Holtz.
sideline of guys that would be disappointed.
No, yeah. Coach Holtz was very intense, and you can feel it and you can hear it. And so that's what I call a great coach that can pull out great things out of players at the right time. And he was able to do and say things that was the 10-2, the 79 season, we were not expected to even be in the top 3 because we lost a lot of great seniors from 78. So we were all, we just played as a team, and we may not have won by 40 or 50 points, but we were winning our games. We figured out a way to win no matter what. I mean, we almost lost to TCU that year. And I think
Yeah.
that's the year, yeah, we almost lost to them, but we had a last second field goal. But again, it was just, we all played as a team. The defense scored that touchdown, and I had three field goals in that game. So we won at 16-13, but still, I did not want to let my teammates down. That's what I was more concerned about, that I wanted to be respected, and I could not be respected if I couldn't do my job as one of the teammates,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that Texas game, if I'm not mistaken, that was at War Memorial.
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying to, I read some articles about it and watched some video, and I think there was a fumble somewhere down the way. And in the fourth quarter, though, you knocked out a 31-yard field goal, but it did come down to, those guys getting the ball back, and it was a nail biter, I'm sure, for Arkansas fans. And as usual against Texas, right? And then their guy comes down and is faced with a 51-yarder
Right.
and obviously misses it. But what a great time in Arkansas history to be the guy that beats Texas on the fourth quarter field goal. I love it.
That I can say that was one of my most meaningful games that I played at Arkansas, was beating Texas, because I think
No doubt about
we
it.
had lost to them. I think the last time we beat them was in 71. So we had
Yeah.
gone that many years with losses, and
Yeah.
I after being there my first year, I wanted to learn and study up on the history of the Razorbacks. So I got to learn a lot of the players, a lot of the games that were important, like the Texas in 77 game. I wasn't there, but we lost that game by 1 point.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't beat them again until 81.
Yep.
And then we didn't beat them again after that till 86. I mean, so it was always a 4 or 5 year stint between, you know, beating Texas. I mean, and then of course we beat them 88, 91, and 2000. That was a couple of years apart. But at the end of the day, I mean, that was a tough game. And Razorback fans, listen, when it comes to playing Texas, that's number one on everybody's list.
We treasure it. And Ish, what was it like coming off the sideline knowing that you had to kick this field goal to go ahead?
Panic.
I mean, panic, yes. But I was just, I mean, I had a great holder in Mike Birchfield, and Bruce Leahy held for me that season too. Bruce was the backup punter, but yet Bruce was great. He's a great athlete. So when you have a great snapper, a great holder, it's not that easy to miss. I mean, as long as I did my job, they did their job very well, which made it easier for me. And
yeah,
I appreciated it. That's why I always give them credit, because that's why I always said the 3 points come from the snap, the hold, and the kick. Anyway, so you have to have all three of those lined up perfectly well to be able to get those 3 points. But all I wanted to do is contribute to the team as much as I could. And if it meant a loss, great. And it also meant, not a loss, but a win, but it also meant a loss one time too. It's good. Kickers can win or lose games. And I've experienced both
all the time. I mean, it is definitely the toughest job. It is definitely the toughest job on the sidelines, because you never know when your number is going to be called, and you hadn't been on the field at all.
No.
You know, you're totally isolated. You've totally been out of the game. You're watching the game, but you're totally out of the game. And then here you go, you get called upon, and you're like, crap. I've just been kicking into the net.
Get my shoes dirty.
I mean, hey, one of my nephews is a long snapper at TCU. And I mean, he's a world-class long snapper, and he's awesome, and he tests out at all those, the way they do it these days. It's not like it was in our day, but these guys test out. But you're right. It has to do with the long snapper. It has to do with the holder. And then the kicker's got to do what he's supposed to do.
3 points.
And you made a great point that it makes your job very easy when the long snapper does his job and the holder does his job.
Yeah, well, if they don't.
No,
it's when it all goes sideways that you got to improvise.
Well, and we also we have a time that we have to get the snap, the hold, and the kick done, and that is 1.25 seconds. That's what was expected of us from Coach Ken Turner as well as Coach Holtz, and we practice that all the time. I mean, and we got timed on it because they've calculated that anything at 1.25 or higher, you're going to get it blocked, especially from the guys coming in from the left or the right side. So,
sure.
Yeah. No, it's but you know what? I grew up knowing nothing about football. I didn't know what X's and O's meant. I knew nothing about it. And it was just one of those things where I just knew. Coach Turner said, just when it's third down, go stand over there next to Coach Holtz, and he'll tell you what we're going to go for the field goal or not. That's all I knew. That's all I knew. And so,
yeah. And I'm going in. Put me in, Coach. Put me in.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah,
that is awesome. What an interesting conversation. Honestly, hearing it from the kicker's perspective of being in that moment and having to go in when the coach calls you and you just go do your job and then you come back. It's like it's unappreciated until you win the freaking game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's what I want to know. Did they ever call a fake field goal when you were back there to kick, or did you kick every single time?
We kicked every single time.
That's what I.
Yeah.
He's like, why fake it when you got Ish Ordanez, right?
I remember.
Well, I was waiting for Ish to say, "Oh yeah, we faked it one time, and I threw a touchdown pass."
Yeah, right.
To,
I don't remember
to my holder. Or my holder was the backup quarterback, and he threw me a touchdown pass.
No.
Hey,
they
had one job.
I was so small, guys, 155 pounds, 5'6", 5'6" and a half. And I remember as a sophomore, I was doing the kickoffs, and they would tell me, once you kick off, stay back. They didn't want me getting involved anywhere near the rest of the players because,
Right.
and I remember against a Baylor game, because I found out that the previous year in 77 or 76, they had knocked out Steve Little on a kickoff. And
they targeted him.
they targeted him. Yeah. And
They targeted him.
one guy tried to do that to me. I fortunately looked down right away after the kickoff, got out of his way. I went to tell one of my teammates what's going on. He said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Just stay where you are." Instead of him running his lane like he was supposed to, he cut across the field and blindsided this guy, and I never got bothered the rest of the game. Yeah, that happened.
And that was
I
Baylor?
love that.
Yeah.
That was Baylor?
Baylor, yes.
Love that. Oh,
Who
God,
was
that's
the dirty?
awesome.
They must have been a dirty team, Baylor.
That was, I think,
Well-
Mike Singletary's senior year, 1978. Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we, back in the day, we had to play all these Texas teams, and it was, it was always TCU. You tried to chalk that up as a win. Rice, you could always chalk up as a win, but Texas Tech. But you never knew how hard it was on the field to play against those other teams, and Arkansas always seems like we were in the top tier, but we couldn't just get over that Texas A&M hump.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't get to Fayetteville until Kendall Traynor was the kicker at that point. I got there in late 86. I guess my freshman year would be considered 87, and I was there to 91. But I remember that Kendall, somehow, and I don't remember how I got this, whether it was Alan Meacham or somebody, but I ended up with a pair of Kendall Traynor's Razorback turf shoes. And I cherished those shoes. I wore them on the hill every day. They were white with red stripe and the black bottom, turf shoes back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And I wore those with my jeans, and I thought I was the coolest dude ever. I had Razorback, and Kendall Traynor, kicker, gave me the shoes.
Well, that was one of the big advantages too. I'm sure Ish was getting the kickoff of AstroTurf, and with a 2-inch tee, you were able to always have that one spot on the field that you knew was there, and that's something that you talked about, how that changed the game when they took that away.
Right. And I went from kicking on grass here in Southern California to kicking on AstroTurf, which made it so much easier. I mean, it made it so easy to control your steps, your follow through. The problem I had was that I used two different shoes. I used the red striped shoe on my left, and then I used a soccer Puma Pioneer shoe as a kicking foot. And
like the black shoe, the black one, the thin black. Yeah.
Right, except that the Puma Pioneer was a white one, and it was one size smaller. So I think I wore a size 7 instead of an 8 because I wanted it really tight so I can get the feel of the kick, just like the kickers back then that went barefooted. I never figured that one out. But the problem I had with AstroTurf was that I was always blowing out that left shoe heel because I was planting so hard with my left foot that I was ripping through them. At least once every 2 or 3 weeks, I had to get another left shoe to help me out. I couldn't use the other right shoe to kick. So
Nike was like, we got an extensive use of left shoes.
Yeah,
we need some extra left shoes, please.
No,
well, they gave you shoes though, right? I mean, they provided you shoes. And back when you played, didn't they have wasn't there like an athletic dorm?
Yes.
Like all the athletes stayed at the
it's a Wilson Sharp. It's right over there. It's still, I believe it's still there. And
Wilson Sharp. My daughter lived there her freshman year.
Yeah, the seniors, football and basketball, were on the first floor, and then sophomores and juniors on the second, and then all the freshmen and first year lettermen were on the third floor. But no, it's again, it was just an experience. I don't know if you know this, George, but myself and I think Bruce Leahy, Mike Massey, maybe a fourth or fifth hog, we were in Life magazine. I don't know if I told you this. You can
No,
look
you
up.
No
didn't.
kidding.
It was the year that the Chi Omegas celebrated their 100-year anniversary, and this convertible car, was driving in front of Wilson Sharp, and they saw us up at the top, and I think it was the photographer called us to come down when the girls told them that those are the football players. So 4 or 5 of us jumped into the back of this convertible with a couple of 3 or 4 Chi Omega girls, and he was taking our picture, and it ended up in Life magazine.
I love
If
that.
you can find
That's
the one,
awesome.
yeah, if you can find the Life magazine that celebrates their 100-year anniversary, you'll see us in there.
That
That's
is awesome.
and
Well,
not only that, but just to be in that atmosphere in 1970, what, 9, oh, and all the athletes that were at Arkansas at the time, even you mentioned the basketball players. I mean, there was
Right.
U.S. Reed, there was Keith Peterson. Was Keith Peterson? Sydney had just graduated, I
No,
think.
he was there my first
He
year.
was there. He was
Yep.
there. Super Sid's last year was your first.
I missed Ron Brewer and the other player that
Marvin
played.
Delph.
Yeah, that they had graduated in 77, but Sydney was a senior in 78, so I got to see him. So
And that was the year that he was on Sports Illustrated,
right.
and then our team was on Sports Illustrated with Holtz. Was it Ben Cowens and Ron Calcagney?
Yes.
And that was the year that we came in ranked number 1 in the country, I want to say.
Right.
And so what a great period to be a Razorback. But I mean, I feel like that's like the golden era. Do you kind of see that now that you kind of look back over, 46 years, that was kind of the golden era of Razorback sports?
Well, if you look back from 1977 through 1981, we won a lot of games in those years. Those 77 to 81. When we look at that, I mean, 11 games in 77. We had won again 9 in 78, 10 in 79, 7 and but then we still, we were more consistent with wins then than we have been in the last 25 years, I think.
yeah, totally agree.
Yep. So again, it's just I'm very grateful that I was able to be part of that era, and I've stayed friends with almost most of my teammates that I had back then. I still keep in contact with Bruce Leahy and Steve Cox, and that's what I connect with a lot of them on Facebook too, and we'll send messages to each other. But no, it's just I'm just very grateful that I was able to experience the college football Division I with the Razorbacks more than anything. And again, they became brothers to me. I have 3 sisters, but I didn't grow up with a brother. And these guys, even though at first they gave me a hard time when I got there, and
California boy.
they would say, well, wait a minute. They go, here's your shoulder pads. We had to go to the junior high school to get them, little things like that. So, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they took care of me. They took care of me on the field and off the field. So
yeah,
That's
especially when
that's
you hit
incredible.
16 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
What
and
a
you know
great
what?
story, though.
I did not
That-
know. I did not know about the consecutive record until kick 14. I didn't know. It was somebody from the sports information department that came to me and said, you just broke a record. I go, no, I didn't know that. I go, the old record was 12, set in 1971 or 70, something like that.
Yeah. It was 12.
So he told you broke the record and you didn't even know it.
I had no
No,
idea.
and he's already at 14.
Yeah.
You already broke it.
Yeah.
You've already beat it by 2 and you're at 14. And then the Texas win was the 15th.
15. And then I think I had a field goal against Houston, which made it 16 at that time.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I don't, even after knowing, I just wanted to clear my head out and on the field. I didn't think about it, didn't worry about it. And one of the exercises I always did on the field before a kick is I would look up at the scoreboard and I would see what the score is. And I would already visualize 3 points added to it already automatically in my head. So I was programming myself to already see that in my head, know that no one's going to take that away from me except me. by missing it.
Love it.
So it was just kind of
Love
that
it.
positive attitude. It was just, I teach the kids nowadays, that. But Holtz always had us compete against each other. He had me compete against Steve and Bruce Leahy the year that we all three played together. And I
Yeah.
remember in practice, at the end of practice, he did this, I think 2 or 3 times during the week. He would bring the field goal team out. We would put the ball on the 30-yard line. It would be like a 47-yard field goal. And I would have to kick one from the middle and from each hash. And for every one that I missed, that field goal team would have to run like 3 or 4 50-yard dashes per miss. And so I would miss one. Then he would come back to me and say, double or nothing. He just said double or nothing.
Oh God.
I took the bet. And I would make it, and I would make the third one. So they never had to run, but he put pressure. He would throw.
And they loved you for that.
Yeah, he would throw towels. He would throw things across me as I'm taking my 2 steps to kick, just to make me focus and concentrate on what I was supposed to do.
So
Ish,
he
I'll tell
really
you
focused. He
Yeah.
really focused on the kicking game and the special teams, I bet.
Yeah.
Holtz.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Hey,
because,
my son is a baseball pitcher, and he's about to go play college baseball. He's a left-handed pitcher, and very, very, very similar to a kicker. They play on a different level than the rest of the team does. I mean, don't get me wrong, and I understand where you're coming from, that you're a great teammate to all your team, but your pitcher and your kicker are on that playing field where, they have one job to perform, and they got to go out there and get it done day in, day out. This is what I do. There's no room for error. It happens every time I'm on the field. And I sense that. I hear what you're saying. And you really hit it on the nail when you said you looked at the scoreboard and you visualized that score being 3 points higher. My son looks at it and goes, I look at it as I want 0.
Yeah.
I want that other team to have
Nil.
zeros. He goes, I turn around, I look at that scoreboard, and I want to see a 0 all the way across the board.
Well, and that's the good thing about football over soccer, Ish, is you get 3 points instead of just 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's triple the fun, right?
It is. It is. You know what, Rick and George, I think it comes down to all the work, even like your son, the pitcher, all the work that we do before we have to perform. During the summers, I was kicking from 130 to 150 field goals at practice between Monday and Friday with my father, and I had a holder for me, but that's how many times I kicked. For me, it became one of those things where it became muscle memory, and it was also you kick so much. But the thing is, you want your body to be like robotic at one point. And one thing my dad taught me many years ago, he would let me warm up extra points, and he taught me that how you're going to kick an extra point is how you're going to attempt a 50-yarder. He said, do not change your leg speed, do not change your approach. You do the same movements that you're doing for an extra point as you're going to do for a 50-yard attempt. And that's the mistake some kickers make, is that they think they have to change the way they kick from back then. And when I first was trying to kick long field goals, my dad said, look, if you're short from 50 yards back, I don't care. He goes, as long as that ball lands between those 2 goalposts and you're maybe 5 or 10 yards short, that kick's going to be good from a 30-yard or a 40-yard. And so one thing I learned from our offense when I played was that Coach Holtz had a plan. He had a playbook for each game, and he took his kickers and punters and used them as part of the offense and said, okay, so once we get inside the 30-yard line, then if we don't make it, he wanted us to score every time we got in especially the red zone. And it was just bonus points if we could make anything outside the red zone from field goals. And so that's what we tried to do. And, Bruce Leahy had a successful 1981 season, All-American. I think he made 19 out of 23 that year. And that wasn't expected from him, but, he was a great athlete. So, again, it's just focus, concentration, and remember what you did in practice so many times. Nothing should change out in the field. And so really, I never looked up at the stadium when I was out there playing, because I was strictly focused on the field, and I could not hear anything. It wasn't until I came back to the sideline and sat down, I realized how many people were in the stadium watching. But I never thought about that when I would go out on the field.
Right. It all just goes away when you're on the field, but it's awesome. Man,
one
what
of
a
the
great.
interesting one of the other interesting things about the era too is, if you remember back then, not a lot of football games were on television. And so when the Razorbacks were on national television, your family back here got the opportunity to watch you, and that had to be, I mean, it was astounding to be on TV back then, not like it is today.
We didn't.
Well, and it wasn't like you could.
Every game wasn't played on television back then. There were either regional games or it was national. I think one of the very few national games during the year was always against Texas or Houston, and then the bowl game. And that was about it.
Right.
And the only way that my family knew what was going on, especially with some games that were played in Texas and not on television, my dad worked for American Airlines, and there were flights from Little Rock to LA, and his coworkers knew that I played, so they were always going to that flight that came in from Little Rock, and they were looking for the Democrat or the Gazette, and they would take it to my father so he could keep up on how we played the previous night.
That's right. They had to get a score.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. I know.
Because
today we live in real time.
We didn't have cable TV. We had 3 channannels and 4 if you got PBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, in 1979, I was 11. Okay.
I was happy. I was happy because we beat Texas, and Ish Ordanez
I get it.
kicked the field goal to help us beat Texas. That's right. I was a happy guy in 1979. I can tell you.
No, man.
But we were more patient with our news back then. We didn't get it till the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how do you keep up with everything now? You obviously watch the Razorbacks. Who's been your favorite kicker since you've left?
There's been many. Todd Wright was one of them too back then. And of course, Cam Little is another one. And then even the one that played it with in 2010 or 11 or 12, I think. I forgot his name, but he was a good
Hocker. Zach Hocker.
Zach.
Hocker.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah.
But see, guys,
there's been some good kickers come through.
I have a lot of respect for these college kickers now, because remember, when I played, you could either use a 1-inch or a 2-inch tee. Nowadays, it's off the ground. You have to kick out, and they're putting these percentages up off the ground, just like NFL kickers. That's why the NFL kickers are so much better than they were 10 to 20 years ago. And I think they changed that rule back in the late 80s or early 90s, I think.
Well, you might remember this back. I mean, when you were kicking in college, you got to use the tee, but the NFL at that time did not. The NFL was always off the turf or the grass, whatever they were playing on.
Right.
And that was the difference between moving from college to the NFL as a kicker was that ball was off. Now, I'm not talking about the kickoff, but the extra points and the field goals were off the ground. Now, the football was bigger. I get that, but it had to have been a change for a lot of kids coming out of college.
That and the fact that college at that time, the goalposts were 24 feet. They're now 18 feet and off the ground in college, just like NFL. So
okay. So that's a great point, because NFL has always been 18. Am I right?
Right.
And then college finally narrowed theirs. That's a great point. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I really didn't even think about it, to be honest, till you just said it.
Yeah, the NCAA has been making a lot of changes to the kicking rules over the years, and mainly because kickers have gotten so much better in college from after the 80s, and that they not only remove the tee, but then they also make the goalpost smaller, and you have to kick the ball that the quarterback's using. So all those changes we're still showing high percentage field goal kickers in college at this point too.
Well, and I don't know the answer to this question, and this is me just throwing it out there, but it seems like also I knew the NFL backed up their extra point a certain amount of yards. I don't know what the deal is, if they've done that with college yet or not, but I know for sure that NFL kicks a lot longer extra point than they used to.
33. It would be equivalent to a 33-yard field goal.
Yeah, and can you imagine back in the late 70s, early 80s, that being an extra point in an NFL game? Whew, Lord.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of changes have gone on over the years, and I expect some more, especially now that you've got NFL kickers kicking 60-yard field goals consistently now.
No doubt. No
I
doubt.
mean,
I mean, it's like you get to the
listen,
50-yard line and you're in field goal range.
Yeah.
well, we just
That
mentioned
changes
Cam
the
Little.
whole
I mean,
game.
Yeah.
Cam Little is a pioneer of changing the game. I mean,
A
that kid hit a 70
70-yarder?
in
Preseason.
preseason. I mean,
Preseason.
that kid's going to be a game changer, but what are you going to do? You know?
You can't change the rules any more than they are changed already. But again, they even moved. I think the kickoffs in college, are they not back from the 35 or are they still at the 40-yard? 35, right?
No, yeah, they moved. All the kickoffs have been moved back for a long time. I mean, and then the new kickoff rule.
Yep, in NFL, but not college yet, right? Where they,
Which I agree with it. Look, I hate to say I agree with it, and I think they ought to bring it into college and just do it right. The kickoff is the kickoff. It is what it is, and more people get hurt than touchdowns are scored.
Yeah, but I think it changes the game in a couple of different ways because the onside kick, you have to give that away if you're going to onside kick. You have to basically tell them. And then if you want to go for two, if you wanted to fake a 2-point conversion from a field goal, a formation, I mean, how you have to tell them you're going to go for two. So I think it changed the game for me a little bit in the NFL. I'm glad they're staying the way they are in college because I think there's still in college that trickery, that ability to kind of take advantage and change the game around in the special teams. That's something I don't think we've seen with the Razorbacks over the last at least 25 years. And it seemed like that's another point you hit on, Rick, was we were known for our kickers. I mean, we had Steve Little and Ish Ordanez and Leahy. I mean, we were like kicker you for a long time.
Yeah, and kicker after kicker.
Yeah,
I mean, for real.
And there's no shame
Kendall
in that.
Trainer.
I think Cam Little brought that back a little bit too. No pun intended, but yeah.
I don't know where I read that I think it's Canadian football. I might be wrong, but I had read that if a 60 or 60 plus field goal is made, they're not giving them just 3 points. They're giving them 4 points, but it has to be 60 or longer.
Really?
I don't know if you've read that or not, but
I didn't read that.
That might be correct, but for sure it's correct in fantasy football.
Okay.
What was your longest?
50. I had 250s, and they were 250s. I think only in the 79 season when I had 250s. And so, and anything further than that, Holtz relied on Steve Cox. He had a much stronger leg. He was the straight on kicker. Right. So I was responsible for kicking the extra points and field goals inside 50 yards, and then he would take on any of the long ones. And what's interesting is that after my sophomore year, when Steve became eligible, we didn't know who was going to do the kicking because Steve transferred from Tulsa strictly to kick for the Razorbacks. He's from Arkansas. So we didn't know what we were going to do. So after my sophomore year, I had made all of my extra points. I had made 39 without missing any. And when he said, well, Coach Holtz came out and said, well, the first extra point you miss, Steve will take over extra points, the first field goal, and then we'll switch you guys out. So what do I do on my first extra point in 1979? I missed. So Holtz said, forget everything I said. You're going to do extra points and field goals. You're going to kick the long ones, and you're going to punt, and you're going to kick off. So he kicked off, he punted, and he did the long field goals. So Holtz realized that was not the best decision to make. Because at that point, not only did I have pressure on me, but I had the pressure to not miss because I'll lose my job. So
of course,
he cut that out right away. So
God, that is
so. Did you have
history right there?
Did you have the same special teams coach the whole time you were there?
Oh yeah, Coach Turner, and
Yeah.
I think
Coach
when he
Turner, that's
came,
right. Yeah.
Ken Turner.
yeah, Ken, when he came to Arkansas, I believe he coached Bill McClard either his junior or senior year. So he coached Bill, Steve, myself, Steve Cox, Leahy, and whatever kickers. I think he even coached Kendall. He was there for Kendall too. So
Yeah.
Okay.
he had some kickers in his time too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely he did.
And so what do you take from him now that you're coaching kicking at, was it Culver City or no, I mean Carson
Yes, Carson.
High School in California, and now you're volunteering coaching there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the foundation of soccer style kicking, and it's not just the style. It's the football versus the soccer ball. These kids are trying to kick a field goal or extra point as though they're trying to kick a soccer ball. So they're taking these stutter steps to kick the foot. No, I said no. It's just a 2-step kick. Don't
It's a lot
complicate.
easier.
Yeah, it's just real simple. But I have to teach them the angle that you come in, the approach, the where your left foot plants, the follow through. Because one time they'll have a great kick, great kick, and then they'll come back and miss the next one because they went far. They either pulled it or they pushed it, and it just comes down to consistency. I said, you guys can kick. It's like a pro golfer versus an amateur. The pro golfer will hit 19 out of 20 onto the green from 180 yards out, whereas an amateur will do it maybe 8 or 9 times. And
That's right.
Kicking is the same way. You just got to consistently do the same thing over and over. It's repetition more than anything. So,
Ish, I have a great idea for you. I think you should take your high school kids out to the golf course and find a spot on the fairway and kick the football and tell them to land it on the green.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to kick 10 footballs, and I want them all to land on the green. That's how I'm going to teach you.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to kick the football, land it on the green, and we're going to do this again and
But
No, I know.
but
That's
you
a
know
good
what?
idea.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing, Rick. He could be on the golf course, but instead he's volunteering to coach, and it's because he loves now the game of football just as much as he
No, I'm
was a
saying
pioneer.
Yeah.
I'm saying take the kids out to the golf course
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
and put the football out there and
I
say,
wouldn't do it.
"Hey,
I wouldn't do
here
it
you
not
go."
once.
I
Couple of
love
60.
teaching. I love teaching competition amongst the kickers. I track every kick out there. I start off with extra points, then it's a 25-yard field goal, all the way to 40-yard field goal, and then it's center, left, and right. And so I'm telling each one of them, okay, you haven't missed yet, or you missed one from this distance, and so hasn't missed any either, so you're behind by one. So I'm having them compete with each other. And so that's the way that I was taught. We competed against each other there at Arkansas with me and Steve and Bruce all the time.
Yeah.
We were so competitive. We were great friends. We were so competitive that one time, so I don't know if it was Steve that came up with the idea, but he was going to put on a soccer shoe. I was going to put on a straight-on shoe, and we were going to see who was better at the opposite of what we did. And we did that. So I'm over there kicking it with my toe, and he was trying to kick it soccer style.
Yeah,
So,
that's hilarious.
Who's better? Who's better?
I think we were pretty even because he had a strong leg. But
Yeah.
he was always a straight-on kicker. It was just
Yeah.
harder for him to learn how to kick it soccer style.
Yeah, I
I'll
remember
bet.
Steve Cox. He was a punter. He could punt from the 20-yard line and put the other team inside the 10.
Yep.
I mean, he had that kind of leg where it was like boom, and
Oh,
you
yeah.
thought, yeah.
I think his longest one was against I think it was Texas in Texas our senior year, where I think it went 86 yards.
86 yards.
Oh,
86 because
Can you imagine?
it went over it went over the receiver's head, and it just kept rolling. It kept rolling into the end. That's how far it went. So
That's awesome.
Did you ever
Yeah.
punt? Did they ever say, "Hey, go try to punt"?
I did. I punted in high school and college, but I know what it was. When Steve was punting inside if it was a 40-yard punt or less, I was the one that would do it. So if it was a short punt, try to get it down inside the 10, And here's Coach Holtz. So he says, Ordanez, get in there and punt this one. Kick it as hard as you can. It'll go 35 yards.
Consistently,
Kick it as hard as you
consistently
can.
though.
It'll go 35. That sounds like a
Consistent.
Lou Holtz comment right there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Kick it as hard as you can. It'll go 35 yards. He was right. He was right. I just didn't like
And
it.
you probably said, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, it's
You
just,
bet I will.
yeah, he called us the non-athletes of the team, by the way.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
like he
certain
was
that
a specimen. Like
Yeah.
he was some sort of specimen, I'm sure.
He was great at getting into our heads, and he would, if he said something to you that would bother you, he did it in order to get you to do what you're supposed to do the right way. And he would get into our heads many times. Yeah.
He was definitely a psychologist, huh?
Yes.
He was the master of trickery too, because I remember like we were saying on the Carson show, he did that magic trick, but when he would go places, he would always have a magic trick that he would do. And I always thought that was kind of a signature of Lou Holtz, because you never knew what he was going to do. You never thought maybe, is this going to be a trick play? But he was really kind of straight up. That veer offense, straight up hard-nosed defense. That was the way Lou Holtz won football games, and was consistent kickers too. It just seems like the Southwest Conference days were kind of one of those where we don't have the same competition now. We're in a bigger boat with a bigger fish in the SEC.
Yeah.
And we don't have the Rices and the TCUs and the Texas Techs that we feel like we can beat every year. Now it's such a daunting schedule. But watching it from the West Coast and keeping up with the Razorbacks from the West Coast, you just don't get as much information as Rick and everybody does by listening to the radio every day on the way to work. So this is kind of our way online of keeping up with things. And so I'm just glad, Ish, that you came on. This was enjoyable. I hope you start predicting for Prediction Thursday and win a couple, so you'll come back on.
Absolutely, for sure. As a guest for winning the
I will do my best. My brother-in-law who lives in Magnolia, Arkansas, when that game comes on from the kickoff, Steve and I are texting each other back and forth. We're giving opinions. We're talking about the players, the coaches, the play, and I mean, we text back and forth. So I have someone now. He's retired like I am. So I have someone that I can communicate with and express myself sometimes on these games. I couldn't before, so I am now with Steve. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Well, I can say this, Ish. It has been a pleasure to meet you and talk to you and enjoy all of these stories. You are certainly an Arkansas Razorback treasure.
Yes.
And I don't care how much time passes, but a guy like you, and I've done some homework. I even talked to my buddy David Basil, and he remembers you. He's a Florida boy.
Yep.
He said Ish is a great guy, but let me tell you, I've enjoyed the conversation. I think you're an Arkansas treasure. You did a great thing for Arkansas. You're still an Arkansas Razorback fan, although you live on the left coast. But thank you for joining us today. I love it.
I appreciate you guys. And I many years ago, I think it was in 1981, I was a friend of mine. He's passed now, but Mr. Vincent Haler was able to get me a Arkansas Traveler. You know what that is? The certificate. He got one for me. So I'm very proud to be an Arkansas Traveler and represent.
Now that is awesome. You're an Arkansas Traveler.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Well,
what an honor.
Look, I'm proud of you. I'm intrigued by what you did and how you did it. And like George said, I hope you become a guest again on our show, because it was fantastic to catch up and learn a little bit of Arkansas history and get a little bit of behind the scenes. So
yeah. I mean, even if he doesn't hit the score,
awesome.
I'll corral him, even if I have to go down to Carson.
Well, you're not very far. You're about 45 minutes away. But you know what?
Not
You guys
far
have
at all.
given me an incentive to follow the Razorbacks even closer, so that I can at least start predicting the scores, right? And I'll do
There
that.
you go. Well,
I'll do that.
here's the key. So I always predict, 'cause since I'm always on the show, I can predict Arkansas winning every time. But we get people that don't pick the Hogs on the show like almost every week, and it's so you're not obligated to pick the Razorbacks, but if you want to be on the show, so you're gonna have to choose your battles.
That's right. Just be right. All you gotta do is
Just-
be right.
Just be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been
All
great.
right, buddy. Hey, thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
I
And,
love
and
it.
leave the app open at the end, and let it upload if you don't mind.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Leave your app open for an hour or so, and it's gonna do its thing because it all processed locally there, and it's gonna have to hit the cloud.
I'll
Yep.
leave the laptop alone, guys.
All right.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thank
All
you.
right, buddy.
we'll
Thank you.
pick soon.